Thanks for joining me. This lab session is entitled JMeter Recording Options Lab. I want to bring some clarity to recording scripts in JMeter. We have talked about the normal approach to recording in JMeter. With the normal JMeter recording method, you can use any browser. In the settings portion of a browser, you can turn on the proxy server and set the browser to communicate through a specific port. That port must be set in JMeter on the test script recorder element so that the two can talk to each other on the same port. Now, there is also an approach using one of BlazeMeter's offerings. The BlazeMeter record method uses the Chrome browser only. The benefits of this approach over the normal JMeter approach are as follows. First of all, the first benefit is you don't need a proxy. There's no proxy requirement. And the second is there's a strong auto removal of extraneous events. So you have a lot less code that's generated with using the BlazeMeter approach, recording approach, versus the standard JMeter approach. But you may find that you prefer to use one over the other. Now, after you have recorded a script in JMeter, you should consider this. Are there additional requirements like removing unneeded events or adding listeners, adding transaction controllers, adding assertions, timers, debugging, adjusting the thread groups, running multiple tests to make sure it's repeatable, resolving and modifying as you need, and adjust scripts to meet the test requirements. You want to make sure that the target is being met, the objective is being met. Now, we're going to move on to a quick lab session to show those two approaches I just talked about. I want to save some time with this lab, so for showing you or demonstrating to you the first part of the lab, we're going to show you the recording that's already been done in JMeter using the normal standard JMeter approach to recording a script. And I want to show you a script that's recorded with JMeter to access Google and search for JMeter. All right, so here are a couple of statements or elements that were added: the recording controller element and the test script recorder element. When we've done this before, so I'm not going to go through the steps it takes to add those in, but we have them, and I also have a view results tree that right now you don't see the results of that recording because I've already removed that. But here is the statement. We would normally click the start button to cause the recording to begin. After, of course, making sure that the browser has been set to use the proxy and the same port that we have specified here. All right, once that's done, the events that are recorded because of the navigation to the Google site and typing in JMeter to display results for searching for JMeter, we get something that looks like this. Now, we'd have to go through each of these events to determine whether they are appropriate or not. And as you can see, there's a fairly long number of events that were recorded. And what we would boil down to is probably 2 or 3 statements that are really needed. Otherwise, most of this is not necessary. I think I could see maybe this part here and that first statement we saw here that goes to the Google site. Most of this, the rest of this is unnecessary. So you can see it will take some time to step through all of this and determine, do we need it or not? All right, so that is the JMeter recording method approach. Let's take a look at the BlazeMeter approach. Remember that with the JMeter recording method, it uses a proxy server. So in order to get to that, let's, as an example, in Chrome, you go to the settings, system, and then you'll see open your computer proxy settings, and this window will pop up. Scroll down to the manual proxy setup, and you would click on this button in order to turn it on so that it would go against your computer and this proxy port, whatever you specify here. So these two are important and must be in sync with JMeter itself. Now, we're making sure it's off, and so it is. We're good there. Now, let's see how to use the extension. We go to the extension list, and we see now BlazeMeter, the continuous testing platform. I click on that. We get a little pop-up window here, and we have a big red button to show that we want to start recording, and we can do that at this point. Let's click that. I'm going to type in the desire to access google.com. Hit the enter key. It should be recording. It pops back up to let you know it did record something. Then my next step is to put in the word JMeter in the search box. Hit the enter key. Now I'm done. I don't need to do any more. It lets me know it has been done. I can then stop. Now I want to go back and redisplay the extension, and it shows me an edit. There are a number of other options that are available with this, but I'm only concentrating on the simplest way to use the tool. Notice at the top it shows my name. Hi, Wallace. It's letting me know that I'm logged in, that you need to be able to have an account with BlazeMeter. You can go to the BlazeMeter site and do that, and it's free. Once you have that, if it's not logged in, sometimes it's not, it will automatically log itself off, then you need to log in. And you can do that right in this window. Right now, I'm just going to go, I want to see what was recorded. So I have two options. I can get it in a JMeter format, or I can get it in a Selenium format. Let me show you the Selenium format. For those who are Selenium lovers, here is the Selenium statements that match the navigation I did to the site. You can utilize those for yourself. You can also see that it will show you the different object names for that same field, that entry field for the search field in Google, that it's not only called Q, but you can specify it in the CSS format, the XPath format, or the name format. All right, so just wanted to let you know that that exists. I'm going to close this window. That's all I'm going to talk about on that. And I'm going to reopen that browser, that extension, and I want to see it in the JMeter format this time. Now, what we see are 3 buttons up here. When you select the JMeter format, it's going to give you some generic statements here, what it actually did, pulled information that can be used in the Taurus tool, which is part of BlazeMeter offerings, and you can put it in JSON format, but we want it in JMX, which is the JMeter, and we're going to export it. We can give it a name and click on this button, and now we see it's exporting it into a JMX. You see a downloaded file with the name googleb.jmx. So then from that point, you go to your download folder. You can pull that file and move it to wherever you wish to input it into JMeter. So I'm going to go fast on that one. I'm just going to minimize this and bring that up in JMeter. So that I've already done. I'd already created a previous version of it. It basically would have duplicated that, and I'm going to expand on that. This is what that script, how it was generated. It has the necessary HTTP elements required and a thread group statement. It actually is using a controller statement called that it named test. You can change that to whatever you desire. And you see what's important to the script. It's already been eliminated unnecessary elements. It's been reduced, if you will, to what is needed. And you could reduce it even more, because if you look at this statement here, here's where he's entering a value of JMeter into the search field, and it's doing it one letter at a time. So you'll see J, JM, JME, and so on until you get down to JMeter. So I could just use that state event or element and remove these other elements. They're not really necessary. But when it comes to, since you're doing performance testing, that's important, because what it's telling you is there's a dialogue going on, sending one character at a time to the server to process. So it's not all being sent in one packet, if you will, from a network standpoint. So this is a good use of BlazeMeter to create or generate a JMeter script and go from there. Whatever else you need to add, you can do so. Please accept my apology. I had intended to tell you about how do you get that BlazeMeter extension for Chrome. And here it is. You go to Google and type in Chrome Web Store. When you do that, you'll get this screen to pop up, and you can type in JMeter Script, or you can type in BlazeMeter. Either way, it will bring up this extension called BlazeMeter, the continuous testing platform. Once you do that, you click on this window, this entry here, and it will download it and add it as an extension to the browser. And that's where you will then be able to see it in the list of extensions. BlazeMeter the continuous testing platform. Thank you. My time has ended for this session. I thank you for yours. Join me in the next video.